Hi, my name is Rickert. I'm a volunteer developer for the first LEGO League, and in this video we're going to create a toy example application that allows two modules to communicate to each other via the MHub server. And as an example, we'll create a chat application that allows two developers scattered across LEGO League tournament to effectively communicate to each other via our MHub bus. So let's get started. We start up mServer. So I just started and have that running in the background. There we go. It's listening on localhost port 13900. And then we start with well, basically a blank slate. Created this new directory here. And as you can see by the name, we are going to create a small chat application. This directory is mostly empty. There's one file here that I already prepared, which hides away a bit of complexity of what we're going to do here. So I'll start by creating a new Node.js application, and I will do that by calling npm init, which creates a new Node application and basically creates a package.json file for us, which will start in a minute. There we go. I'll just press enter through this example. Normally you would fill this all out with relevant information. And there we go. There we go. When I have a look at the directory now, you see that the package.json file has been created. And since we are trying to create an application with MHub as a server, I like to install the MHub npm package, which can be done with npm install MHub, and I'll add --save to save the dependency to the package.json file. So there we are. When I view the directory now, you can see that the Node modules subfolder has been created, which contains the dependency we just installed. The last bit I'm gonna do to prepare this all is to create a file that will be our main access point for our application, which is called index.js by default. So there it is. So before starting to actually create this application, I will show that MHub actually contains a lot of functionality that we need by itself already. So to give you an example, there's this small application bundled with MHub called mClient, and we can use that to listen to for example, our default node on a topic called message, and that we're going to use to exchange messages between clients. And I will start this mClient application in an interactive mode. And I will use, there's two kinds of interactive modes for mClient. There's a JSON interactive mode and there's a text-based interactive mode, and I started text-based interactive mode now. This allows me to just enter some text in the mClient, which will directly be published to the mServer. So when I press enter, you see on the other screen that there's a message received on the server, and there's still a server running on this side, and you'll see that the data that is received actually contains the word hello that I just typed. So I can continue typing here, which continues on sending new words and new messages to the server. This is basically already half of what we want. We want to send messages from one client to another, but sending messages from the M client to M server is not a complete application. So we now just start by firing up an editor and start with our own application. So there we are. We've got our index.js open up in Visual Studio Code. And I will basically start with copying an example from the GitHub README of the MHub project itself. Here I have the webpage from the MHub repository on GitHub, and a bit down to the bottom there's an example that shows you how to use MHub as a package in Node.js. Here it is. This is basically all there is to it. And we will practically copy this into our own application. So I'll start doing this here. First, we need to require the MHub package and use the mClient class inside. And we're going to create a new client from that class and connect to our local server that we have running in the background. There we go. Next bit is when the client is ready, which is signaled by an event on the client. It's called the open event. When the client is ready, we want to subscribe to a particular node on the M server. And we do that to the default node that is available by default on the MHub server. When you're creating your own application, it makes sense to subscribe to your own node if you wish. And the next bit is to assign an event handler when a message is received. And for starts, I will just log that message to the console. There we go. So if I now fire up that application by typing node index.js, things are now running. So when I use the mClient application again to send some messages, we now see that the message is received as an object in our application. And as you can see, the entire message is currently logged. So there's a topic, which is what we used here to connect to the node, and there's some data, and there's also some headers. And for now we're mostly interested in the data, which is the words I just typed. So I for now we're mostly interested in the data that is actually being sent over. So for now I console.log the message.data alone. When I fire up the application again, you can see that now only the actual text I typed arrives in our application. So this is a start. We can now send messages from the MHub client to our own applications, but we want to send some text back as well. And that's the reason I included the UI.js file in there, which contains a bit of logic to handle command line input. So what I'm going to do is also import that library. There we go. And instantiate that as well. And instead of just logging a message, I'm going to use the UI library to write a line with the data, which is basically just the same thing, but now using the UI library. And the last thing to connect it all together is when a message is entered on the command line, I want to do something with it, and the UI library fires an event when that happens, which is the line event for that library. And what I can do in this case is just publish a new message to the MHub server, to the default node, with a topic called message that we have used throughout, and we just send over the line itself. There we go. So when I fire up the application again, I can now actually type some bits here. And this gets sent over to the server. Over here we've got a server running, and this last bit is just received by the server. So this allows us to stop using our M client for the time being and use another instance of our application we just wrote. There we go. Now I can type some text here and see that it arrives in the application at the top. I can type some words here and see that it arrives at the application at the bottom. So there's one more thing we can do. I've now got two instances of the same application running, but as you can imagine, if we have multiple clients running, we want to see which one is which. So what I'm going to do is allow a command line argument to be given to the application itself, which we can use further on. So what I declare here is that the user becomes the second argument given to the command line. And I'm going to use that user to create a new or more elaborate bit of text. So when I now start up both applications, let's do that again, and now with the command line parameter we actually allowed it. So the above we start up with chat1 as a username, and the bottom we start with chat2 as a username. And we can now pass messages back and forth, and they get annotated with the user that is actually sending the message. So this concludes our short demo. We've now created a very simple application to pass some messages back and forth, and in this case there are chat messages, but you can imagine that they can be basically any message that your application wishes to share with the world. So it can be messages generated by save events from your application. If something gets saved to a database, for example, you can use this mechanism to broadcast those messages out to the world, and that can be used by anyone who cares to listen. And that allows you to string applications together and let them work together in a broader sense, and have something that is more than the sum of its parts. So in this way you make sure that anyone who cares about your application can listen to important messages coming from it and can build on anything that you have done already. So thanks for your attention, and see you in the next video.